If you have money now to start a business, to start your journey in entrepreneurship, where will you put it? Remember that if you don't put that money into use, it will not last, it will circulate. So I'm going to share with you maybe at least two areas where you can put your money into use as an entrepreneur. First of all, let's talk about what we call commodities. These are basically raw materials that are used in that are processed to produce goods and services. Raw materials such as oil, gold, copper, silver, diamonds, and the rest. However, today's focus is not going to be about that. I am going to focus on commodities such as primary agricultural products. Wherever you live, there is definitely agriculture going around. The products from this agriculture activity is one of the very good ways to put your investment in. We're talking about primary agricultural products such as cocoa, coffee, maize, beans, mention the rest. Look around wherever you live. The agricultural activity that is going out there, there is always a product, a primary product. That product is worth putting your money into. Now, why do I think commodities is one of the best areas to invest in? This is because commodities are the same all over. So maize is maize, rice is rice. You don't need to build a brand around it. You don't need to go about convincing people that there is value in rice, there is value in cocoa, there is value in maize. No. So it's a straightforward investment. And also, if you look at commodities, basically their availability is seasonal. So we have periods where the supply of those commodities are high, and we have periods where the supply is low. So periods within which the supply is high, this means that the prices of those commodities are low. So what you have to do if you have money sitting down idle, instead of spending it like a drunken sailor, you go and buy these commodities when the supply is high and the prices are low. And then all you have to do, find a safe place and keep it. It could be in your bedroom, who cares? In your veranda, in your garage. It doesn't matter. What is important is that you buy the product when the price is low. And another tip is that you buy this product at the farm gate directly from the farmer. This way you even get a cheaper price for the product. And you do not need much effort to store these products. Now, after you have purchased this product, commodities, and then you store them, all you need is to wait. And what is interesting is that as you wait, you use that waiting period to look for prospective customers for your stored commodities. So if it's maize, you go to people who have the need for maize, people who use maize in their products. Talk to them about your supplies, find out of their interests, make a list of your prospective customers, and then wait for the right time. So when is the right time? The right time is when there is low supply of your product. When there is low supplies, obviously price will increase because the demand for the same product has not changed. It is just the supply that has changed. So prices increase during low supply. And then you approach your prospective customers and sell your product to them. So the difference in your purchase price and sale price is what becomes your revenue. Easy, straightforward way of letting your money work for you. Other things could even affect the supplier, giving you even much higher price for your product. Now, let me tell you, 100 kilograms of maize somewhere in 2015 went for $14. The coming year, 2016, same period, that same bag of 100 kilogram of maize went for $24. So what's the difference there? Then you are getting $10 in revenue. This is an investment just for the period of 1 year. It could even be less than a year. And then you are making money. Now, you don't need huge sum of monies to start investing into commodities. So if it's a bag of cocoa beans, you buy one. Bag of maize, you buy one, keep it. And with time, you have sufficient number of bags. And the more volume of products you have, the higher your profit. So if you are that entrepreneur that sits at home wondering what to do when you have money, you use it the whole time wondering, and then before you realize that money evaporates and you never get to start anything. So now you've got it. Commodities is one of the areas where you can easily make your investment. And remember, in the previous video, I talked about you just finding the product line, the supply chain, find where your abilities and skill fits into, and go in there and decide to do something different. That is what we call innovation, and that will sustain your commodity business, leading you on the path towards wealth creation. Now, does this idea looks crazy? It is very simple. It's all about supply and demand. And remember, I talked about the fact that money can easily multiply. So you start with 5 bags of maize or coffee or sugar, and then the revenue you acquire gives you additional 2 bags with your in addition to your invested capital the coming year. And then with time, you started with just 5 bags. With time, then you are trading in hundreds, 200s, 300 bags. And that is where you start to see the rippling effect of money. So nothing is small, you start bit by bit. Also, remember that in business, it is not all just about the money you put into the investment. It's about creating relationships. It's about creating deals. So if you don't even have the needed capital and you are able to establish a very good relationship with the primary source of your supply, the primary source of the supply of your product, it is possible that you can even get to deliver these goods to your prospective customers without putting any money into it. But it has to take your interpersonal relationship to get to that point. So if you meet a farmer, the farmer has the products and wants to get rid of them because he also needs revenue or capital to start investing in his farm the coming season. So he actually wants the products to go. So if you meet that farmer with proof of your customer base, with proof that you have demand, with proof that you can create demand, then you only need contractual documents for you to be able to start supplying those commodities without actually putting a lot of capital investment into that business. So start thinking about it. I'm talking about commodities, primary agricultural products. Look around you. You know them. You know where they are. You know where these farmers are. You know where the farms are. You know where the production takes place. Go do your research and start thinking about investing into commodities. And the good thing about commodities is that if you structure it very well, you can actually be earning very short-term profits and long-term income. So do it, and if you need help after having identified a commodity to find out where the product, to really understand the production line of that commodity, don't hesitate to send me an email. I can help you in that research. Another simple but effective and profitable venture that you can go into is the lending business. Now, remember that all these businesses, all these ventures I'm talking about, I've been into them, I've done the math, I have the experience, and I tell you that these are profitable ventures. Now, lending. Once again, consider yourself. Just look around where you live. Salaries are very meager. So most people, especially the middle class, when they take their monies, it doesn't hold them throughout the whole month. Some of them, their monies get finished in the middle, salaries get finished in the middle of the month. How do they survive the rest of the month? Teachers, nurses, carpenters, people who are monthly salary dependent, basically government workers, are not able to live on their salaries for the whole period of 1 month because it's virtually insufficient. And then we also have this category of people who gets the money, they don't understand the characteristics of money, they let money engulf them, and then basically spend it. Then the money circulates out of them, and then they are back to square zero. However, problems are not going anywhere. So you have the situation where you run out of cash, but there is the need to solve an urgent problem. So where do you get the money to do that? This creates a peer-to-peer lending opportunity. And the people you lend to, you should remember who they are before you lend them money. And then when you lend them this money, you give them a time period to pay back with an interest. And remember that every endeavor, every business idea must be to solve people's problem. The secret to succeed with the lending business is reduce interest rates. Your bank could be offering 25% or 30%, and then you want to create value for the consumer, so you can even decide to offer them 15%. And then once your interest rate is lower, you do not need advertisement. Those who have already seen the benefit of the value you are creating becomes your primary promoters of your product. So they tell Mr. A, Mr. A tells Mr. B, Mr. B tells Mr. C, and then before you realize, you have a lot of people looking for peer-to-peer loans from you. And then remember that in most jurisdictions, lending should be a registered business. However, in Africa, Asia, most parts, especially in India too, peer-to-peer must not necessarily be a registered business. So all you have to do is that you get a WhatsApp number, put your first customer there, and then you do not need huge sums of capital investment. I can tell you one that I did with a friend, and then we started with $500. The first initial investment was $300, and then from $300 we're able to distribute to 5 people, and within a month these 5 people paid back, and then the interest was able to be used to get in 2 to 3 additional people, and for a period of 1 year, 500 investment became an investment of $5,000. Problems that came with this peer-to-peer business was that the collection rate, the failure to collect money from people was very high. After all, there are people who know you, they live in the same community with you, and they think that, okay, after all, if I don't pay you, there's nothing you can do about it. And they also know that the business you are operating is not a registered business, so you cannot do anything about it. So after the first 3 months, we decided to evaluate the progress of the business, and we decided to plug all the loopholes. And we decided that, first of all, we need to write up a very short contract personal agreement. It's between me and you, and in the agreement you have to indicate that you had a personal problem and you needed funds, and then you come into me and you are picking that money with the promise of paying it back with an interest at a specific date. So this way, I have a document, a proof that I can use at the law court or even report it to the police. Remember that the intention here is to sustain your business, is to make sure that people who actually needs the money and picks it, solves their problems, pays back. And this was one of the ways we found out was very effective. In addition, we indicated that before you can collect it, you need to bring 2 witnesses who also witness and sign. So when you actually send that document to the police or to the court, then it can be considered as evidence. So with this, we realized that the first time it was about 30% collections failure rate. And then when we devised that agreement for our clients, the rate reduced by half, almost by half. It reduced to 15%, and with time, it was 10%. And this 10% mostly are stubborn, close family relations. Stubborn, close family relations. That's why I said that when you doing this lending business, you should know who to lend out money to. Not everybody. Even though there was 10% collection failure rate, there was sufficient profit to even cover that percent loss. So if with this lending business, just an investment of $500 can generate a revenue of $5,000 within 1 year, how much do you think you can generate if you continue with this business for a period of 5 years? Now, the lending business is just a means to an end. The end is to register a small-scale financial service company. So if you do lending, peer-to-peer lending for a period of 5 years, and you know how you understand the revenue profit sharing mechanism I talked about in the previous video, then you should be having enough sufficient capital for an office space and capital to lend out money to small scale businesses. Capital to officially register that business. So peer-to-peer, very good venture to go into. And remember that when you start, the collection rate will be the failure in collection will be high, and then on the way you ought to be innovative, find out how to plug all the loopholes and have a goal to reduce the collection failure to, let's say, between 10 to 5%, and have the end result of your peer-to-peer business being establishing a financial service business. officially, where you then register it and learn how to establish small scale businesses who have the need to expand, especially businesses that are into supply. They have a fixed demand and they just need to fill supply, and they always need money to cover the cost of that supply. And then you offer them these loans and then they pay back with interest. And also remember here that the secret sauce is the lower interest rate. And the secret sauce to your high revenues is the volumes, the number of people who applies for your loans. And within this peer-to-peer business, you actually reward those loyal customers who always pay back. So if your interest rate is, let's say, 9%, and they have taken loan 1 to 3 times and they actually pay promptly, these are loyal customers. So what you can do is offer them, let's say, 2% discount. Instead of paying 10% interest, they pay 8%. This maintains your business and this secures your clients. So now if you are an investor and you are sitting around doubting your abilities or thinking about areas where to actually invest your money, I am giving you these tips. These are very simple endeavors. Entry into these endeavors do not require extensive capital, and there are no restrictions, and you actually have all the time to go around gradually finding customers, and the manner in which they are structured you don't need money for a lot of branding. You don't need to convince a client to come because these clients have a need, and in one way or the other they will need to solve it. It must be solved, and once you give them a considerable opportunity to solve that problem, they will definitely come. And with this peer-to-peer lending business, there is actually a formula where when you reach a particular target of clients, any other money that you are investing that is coming in is actually doubling. Then there is what we call the rippling effect. And this is what money can do for you. That's what it is good at doing. It can easily multiply. So if you go in, understand how it is developing, when you reach that ripple effect you will understand it. You will definitely know it. And make sure you keep records of all what you're doing. You know, if it's commodities, make sure you record how much you buy for each bag of that commodity. If it's lending, make sure you record how much you lend to each client, and record when they pay back and the interest, and make sure you calculate your costs and revenue, and more importantly, remember the revenue sharing mechanism, whereby you divide your revenue into, after taking out your production cost, you don't consider the rest as profit. You still consider that as revenue, and you divide it into 3 equal parts. And then one part goes into reinvesting into the business, another part goes into saving for the business, and the other part is what you pay yourself with as an entrepreneur. And also remember that once you understand this profit revenue sharing mechanism, you should have plan for a complementary business, plan for expansion and sustainability of your business. And then you should hold on fast to that plan. So I'm talking about commodities, basically primary agricultural products. And then I'm talking about lending business, which is peer-to-peer lending. And in the agricultural, basic primary agricultural products, what you need actually is just a storage place, and buy when you can, and store and sell at the right time, because it's seasonal. When it goes out of seasons, demand remains the same or even increases, but there is limited supply. That makes the price go up. The difference between your purchase and sale price is your revenue. And with the lending, the interest you charge is your revenue. And then always remember to charge, to no matter the situation, recoup your investment, the money you actually lend out. And remember to know who you're lending the money to, and remember to have an end goal in lending business. Now, if you remember the devilish nature of money, where I said it engulfs you, takes over your mind and let you misuse it. These 2 opportunities that I've just talked about are some of the ways whereby you actually do not let the money stay with you. You see, I talked about the fact that if you don't want the money to engulf you, don't even get in touch with it. Create barriers in between you and your money. So if you buy a bag of coffee or a bag of maize with your money, then when you're hungry, but you don't have to go eating your bag of maize. It's there. It is a barrier. If you also lend your money to somebody, it is no longer with you. That money is going to another person, but will come back. And when it's coming back, it comes back with profit. So these two are good opportunities to take control over money. These two are good opportunities. These two businesses, ideas, are one of the ways whereby you learn to deal with the devilish nature of money. So if you are an entrepreneur and then you are in doubt or you have any questions regarding some of these things that I'm talking about, don't hesitate to leave a comment. Or I think my email is in the comment section. You can send me an email, and I believe we can work together. And what I can tell you is that if you are not ready to research, to work out your path, and you're out there only looking for an angel investor, somebody to just come with a bunch of money, take it. This is money for you to go and invest. I don't think you should spend time trying to get in touch. What I'm doing here with this channel is to equip you with the necessary knowledge towards wealth creation. It is highly impossible to create wealth out of a vacuum. You must be equipped with knowledge. You must have the necessary information. And when you have that, then you are ready and willing to create wealth for yourself. And this is the major reason why in my previous video I talked about understanding what is money. The devilish and the angelic nature of money is a very good, important knowledge for you to acquire before you can even talk about going into commodities or peer-to-peer lending business. Thank you very much for watching, and share this video with family and friends. See you in the next video. Thank you. I think I did forgot to kind of offer you some tips in the areas of commodities and then peer and how to go about with the peer-to-peer lending. With commodities, I think I should be able to make a video specifically on primary resources such as oil, gold, copper, lithium, diamond, and how and ways to invest in them. But like I said, my focus is on primary agricultural products. And with commodities, I am thinking about these 5 to 6 commodities that are worth looking at. I'm talking about maize, sugar, coffee, corn, and cocoa. Right? This doesn't mean that you should specifically select these commodities. What I'm saying is that wherever you are, wherever you live, in any part of the world, there is agriculture activity actually going on, and then it is possible to identify some products, some commodities where you are, and put some investment into it. Now, I'm suggesting these products to you because that's what I am conversant with. Okay, and then when it comes to the lending, you must consider what the interest rate in the country in which you live is, and then you offer a lower rate. So, for example, in Ghana, I think the interest rate is about 25, if I'm not mistaken, 25%. And then there is nothing wrong with you offering 15% or even 20%. And like I said, you do not have to you don't have to put in a lot of money at the beginning. You can start with just $500. If you don't have that capital, you start saving right now. And when you have $500, you look for at least 5 prospective clients, people who have very reliable source of income, but it's so meager to the extent that it doesn't last for the whole period of the month. Meanwhile, they have problems that demands financial solution, and then you offer them loans, at least with 5 people. If you start with 5 people with an interest rate of 20%, when they all pay back with their interest, then you have money to get in the next person. And then with time, you have more clients, you have more revenue, you can increase your loans. If you're giving people $100, you can increase to $130. You can increase to $200. You can increase to $500, depending on the number of clients you get in. And remember that with this lending business, the end goal should be establishing a financial service business. In other words, a microfinance business. So if you start the first 1 year, from my experience, with 500, you are able to make an amount of $5,000. If you roll that money over for 1, 2, 3, up to 5 years, then you should have enough capital to register a business, get an office space, and start lending money to small entrepreneurs looking to expand. Yeah, and that is all it takes. And also with the commodities, maize, millet, beans, sugar, coffee, you don't have to be buying bulk. Save when you are able to buy a bag, you buy it. So if you are able to buy 2 bags in a month, maybe within 6 months you have 6 bags, then you sell. And then reinvest the money, and with time your volume increases. And the more your volume increases, the more revenue that comes to you and the more money you make. And more importantly, remember the revenue sharing mechanism which I indicated in my previous video. That when you subtract your investment capital, your overhead costs and everything, what is left, do not consider that to be revenue and start spending it. Still consider it as revenue. Divide that into 3. The first part is reinvestment into your business. The second part is saving for the business. And the third part is what you can confidently call your profit. Okay? If you understand this, you'll be able to maintain, sustain, and expand your business. You'll be able to maintain, sustain, and expand your business. And always remember that part I talk about, which is innovation. That after you have identified this, after you have identified the product line, the supply chain, and you identify a specific area. In this particular case, commodities, supply of commodities, and you place yourself there, all you ought to do is to do something just a little different. For example, if you are into maize, you can offer to supply, deliver your product to your client at a very minimal cost. That's different. That's innovation. And then you stand out from the rest. If you are into the lending business, your lower interest rate, rewarding your loyal customers is also a very, very important strategy, innovation that would then help you stand out. So when you are able to stand out, understand the revenue sharing mechanism, then you can sustain, you can maintain, sustain, and expand your business. And you would see personal growth you will see that you are actually on the path to wealth creation. And the path to wealth creation comes with a lot of knowledge. That knowledge will lead you into another venture and the other and the other. And then before you realize, you're sitting on a heap of wealth. And remember what I said in my previous video, that you can't start saying you are creating wealth when you don't have at least 3 reliable, major, constant source of revenue flowing into your wallet all the time, even including when you are sleeping. Then that's not wealth. Then you are creating riches. But the target is regarding wealth creation, whereby you sleep, then there is money working, there is money flowing in. And this is what we all as young entrepreneurs desire. But the path is not an easy task. You must value money. Value money understands the devilish and the angelic nature of it. Learn about what an idea is and actually understand business. That the agenda should be to create value for the client, for the consumer. And when that is the basis for your venture, nothing can stop you. You would realize that just like the forces of gravity, just like the principle of flotation, you will succeed. When you climb on a wall and you jump, you will land. If you follow the principles of wealth creation, you will land success. So this is why I deem it pretty important to share with you some of these basic but pretty relevant themes. If you are out there wallowing in the system and looking for a path to escape, this is the channel for you. Thank you. Please, if you actually enjoy my videos or content, don't hesitate to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and family members. And then kindly leave your comment. I think your comments are very important because they give me feedback as to some of the areas to talk about, as to some of the mistakes that found in the video, so that I can improve upon them, and so that I can make sure I provide you better and useful content in subsequent videos. Kindly like, subscribe, and share with your friends and family members.